This is the future.
Last week, I was looking at the Warframe stats chart for the year 2022, and I kind of understand right now why players picked these as the top 10 most popular weapons in the game last year. Honestly, at first, I was lost when I saw that Cedo was not even at the top 10 of most popular primary weapons, as this shotgun is really endgame worthy. It was the start of the evolution of condition overload in Warframe, and it hits like a truck even against level cap enemies. Hell, Phantasma wasn't included even if it's one of the strongest setups I have used for high-level content. This chart doesn't show the most powerful guns, but the most popular and commonly used by players in the game. One gun that I did not agree with at first that was listed in the top 10 primary is the Sheddu. The gun is not as powerful as the Cedo in my opinion, and the condition overload shotgun has more uses compared to this sentient assault rifle arm cannon that fires heat beams that create electricity explosions on impact. So, what else can it do? Are there any special features? There is. When expending the battery, it releases a large pulse, staggering enemies with an impact proc and removing sentient damage resistances. The arm cannon does not have ammo reserves also, and instead regenerates ammo. If you ask me, then that's a good thing as it can be helpful in sentient fights, and also, the infinite ammo appears to be appealing. However, players are not fighting sentients most of the time in the game. They are farming stuff to get what they want in Warframe. To tell you honestly, I was lost before of why this sentient arm cannon is popular to players and they missed out on including Cedo in the top 10. If I were to rank them, then I would put Cedo first before this sentient arm cannon. But gladly, I wasn't the one to judge, because if I was judging, then I'll be goddamn wrong again. The Sheddu is a great primary weapon and deserves to be in the top 10 of the most popular guns in Warframe since it's both a farming and progression weapon. Okay, let me explain. The gun is a Mastery Rank 13 weapon, and getting to Mastery Rank 13 is pretty, especially if you follow the golden rule of getting to a clan first when you are starting Warframe, and buying all the weapons and Warframes that you can use for Mastery Rank leveling. The only problem though is the acquisition, as the weapon blueprint is given to the player at the end of the era quest. Additional blueprints can be bought from Cephalon summaries for 100,000. The Sheddu's components are rare drops from symbolists found in sentient anomalies that appear in the Vale Proxima during Empyrean missions. The ship occupies one random node for 30 minutes, indicated by a red flashing sentient symbol, then rotates to a different node. Symbolists were also found in Operation Scarlet Spear and Operation Orphex Venom. If you got some spare platinum though, you can get the parts, as these can be traded between players. I know this is not the goal for most of you, but when you get the weapon, the progression will feel super easy, as the Sheddu can help you clear almost all the content in the normal star chart, except for boss fights of course. Aside from progression, if you are already farming for things in the game, say, if you are farming isolation vaults, then you can just pick up the Sheddu and use it as your main gun to kill all the enemies there. Well, generally just the trash mobs, as the corn bots will be hard to kill, and I usually use my void rig to deal with them. The most appealing part of this gun, just like what I have said earlier, is that it has infinite ammunition and it recharges once you fully depleted its magazine. With the recent nerf on ammunition, infinite ammo seems to be preferable by Warframe players nowadays, and I can't argue with them, because instead of crafting ammunition pizzas and spending resources for it, or being locked to just using the carrier Warframe for its ammunition mod perk, or even giving your gun a mutation mod, players would just prefer a gun they can min-max and have infinite ammo that is enough to kill enemies in normal star chart. In terms of Steel Path missions, I see the Sheddu commonly used by Wisp to further boost its effectiveness, and I always see players using it in camping while farming prime parts in Steel Path survival fisher missions. You see, Sheddu don't shed enemies' health in Steel Path levels, but players are still choosing it because of the infinite ammunition. Not to mention that it's so cool to see the arm cannon when that fisher buff that grants infinite ammo hits. If you will use it against Steel Path enemies, especially those armor or shielded units, you will definitely see how mediocre this arm cannon is. However, in the hands of Wisp, it becomes special, with the boost in fire rate, and the ability of Wisp to subsume Rhino's roar, plus the bonus damage that Breach Surge can give. Sheddu becomes super special, and all you need to do is strip away some armor and shields using the Unera focus to shed the health of enemies. Now, let's talk about the builds. For normal star chart, I would say to use just the normal mods that you have if you are new to the game. Just slap the usual damage, 90% elemental mods that forms viral, critical chance, and some damage mods. Also, since you are not using Wisp, then I advise some fire rate. However, if you already have the galvanized mods, plus the weapon arcanes, then this is the build I would suggest. This is the high-level Shed-Do build I am using right now with my Wisp. I opt out of fire rate since Wisp mode can give me that, and I invested with critical delay for more critical chance so that hunter munitions will proc more often. Now, many would suggest a primed Bane mod in this slot, which is a good option too, but this build is more for general use and doesn't require you to pick a specific Bane mod for a specific faction. One thing that I forgot to mention about the Shed-Do is that it has this small area of effect wherein it can hit multiple grouped enemies. It's fairly powerful when you pair it with high fire rate, the hunter munitions mod, and Rhino's Roar. It will melt enemies in seconds, but not to the point wherein it wrecks level cap enemies. You can do it with a specific setup, but not as powerful as other meta weapons for level cap purposes. The Shed-Do is a true testament that not all high DPS, powerful guns that can one-shot enemies are considered to be meta in the game. There are those like the Sentient Arm Cannon that are just enough for the job, and that is why Shed-Do is popular with the Warframe player base. It may not have the same nuking power as the Brahma, or the level cap viability of Cedo. Still, many players choose to equip it because of the infinite ammo, the small AoE that hits multiple targets, and just like I have said, it has enough damage to be used in either normal star chart enemies, or farming prime parts with Wisp. Honestly also, if you have picked up the Shed-Do, it's really hard to put it down. So that's all about it. Thank you so much for watching. Squad Leader signing off.